Hey y'all, so let's get started. Another week of unceasingly news of AI. I might have mixed the words there. So let me just double check the audio here if everything is good. Let me just do this. AI. Yes, so audio is good. There might be a little bit of echo over there. So I've been hours preparing for this. It's got just too much reading and trying the tools was pretty incredible. And retraining my muscle memories or memory muscles. So let's get started. So let's start with the news. Then we're gonna try different tools. It's gonna be very, very cool. So for the first news, let me go over here. Audio is working, perfect. So let me get out of here so we can have a full view. So this was it caused me a very positive impression, guys. So let's take a look on this. So this is a Stanford University Human-Centered Artificial Intelligence. Great choice of name, right? Inside Trump's ambitious AI action plan. This is a 28-page plan. And so I went through the whole article trying to select parts, but I feel like the full article is pretty impressive. And if truly reflects the 28-page plan, which I did not went through, it's pretty good, very positive all around. If you guys see anything negative, just let me know. So let's get into it. So the White House favors market-driven growth and light governance, signaling a departure from the previous administration. The White House newly released AI action plan outlines an assertive vision for U.S. leadership in AI, framed around the imperative to win the AI race. The 28-page plan emphasizes the removal of regulatory barriers, the build out of foundation AI infrastructure, and private sector momentum as the primary levers for accelerating innovation. So one thing that I want to point out here is that we are observing what they're doing towards the relation of AI, the dynamics of AI market, private sector, the public, so on and so forth. It's not so much about the who did what here on the political sense, right? So credit wherever there's credit. Let's keep on going. The build out of, okay, we went through this. So this vision reflects a notable shift from the Biden administration, now rescinded executive order on AI, which emphasized a whole of government coordination, safeguards against AI-enabled harms, and government capacity building. By contrast, the Trump administration's approaches promoting open models, accelerating infrastructure development, and expanding global adoption of US AI models. Three accompanying EOS further detail this vision by issuing directives on exporting US AI technology, accelerating federal permitting for data centers, and preventing woke AI in the federal government. The new approach also represents continuity on several priorities, including advancing the government's ability to evaluate models. This is a very important point because it's not free for all, do whatever you want with AI. I do think this is a very, very important point. So let's put it like this. So it's basically the government's ability to evaluate models. So they are also working on that. So yes, AI should develop as fast as it can. Therefore, it's obvious that it should be on the proper directions. Opening access to computing resources and encouraging AI enabled science, right? So it's kind of an all around infrastructure, how to move fast, therefore properly, and with combining, and we're going to get a combination of academia and public sector, which is like the science part, the market part, so on and so forth. Yet, across the board, the action plan does not at this stage provide concrete implementation plans. Many provisions lack clear timelines, designed agency responsibilities, and funding pathways. Here, we offer a preliminary analysis of the action plan's implications for public sector AI innovation, governance, workforce, and skill development and implementation. So I should find a way that when I come back to this window, it doesn't open, need to remove the whole screen, right? So, okay, so just went through a little bit through that. It's a very good combination of getting all the sectors included in. By the way, this is an overall framework, like they just stated by the end, which it just makes sense because it does takes time to implement such things in such complex structure, right? And we are dealing both with when I say complex structure, I mean both the human element and infrastructure and technology. So let's get back there. So you see, like when I change here, I have to do this. Eventually I'm going to figure out how I can just change the page without going through that. Let me get out of here. Awesome. So let's keep on going. So implication for academia and public sector. The action plan emphasizes open innovation, public AI research infrastructure, and AI-enabled scientific discovery as key pillars of U.S. leadership in AI. It reaffirms federal support for expanding access to computing and data resources through a renewed commitment to the National AI Research Resource, NAIRR, and calls for public-private partnerships with the research community. The Stanford Institute for Human-Centered AI has long advocated for an AIRR, a cause first championed by co-directors Fei-Fei Li and John Etchemendy, sorry, tough name here for me, in 2019. So pretty good, very positive pursuit they were going for over here. The plan's approach focuses heavily on infrastructure that will be built and operated by the private sector. While industry plays a critical role in scaling innovation, we believe long-term U.S. leadership in AI will depend on sustained investment in public sector institutions, university, nonprofit organizations, and independent labs that form the backbone of the broader AI innovation system. So no doubt, sometimes people get like overemphasizing in market or just the private sector overall, that they forget the importance of the public sector. So this is amazing. I'm very, very happy to have read this. Probably have to visit those guys on Stanford there eventually. All right, let's keep on. So notably, the plan offers the strongest federal endorsement to date of open source and open weight AI models. It directs the Department of Commerce to convince stakeholders to drive open model adoption among small and medium-sized businesses. A step that could also benefit researchers by lowering barriers to experimentation and broadening access to cutting-edge tools. This is a welcome step towards ensuring that innovation is not concentrated among a handful of actors and that the benefits of AI are more broadly distributed. Another point that is very, very good, right? The plan also calls for advancing AI as a research discipline and supporting scientific breakthroughs across fields such as biology, chemistry, and material science, primarily through privately developed cloud-enabled labs. It designates scientific data as a strategic asset, proposing minimal data quality standards and requiring federal-funded researchers to disclose non-proprietary, non-sensitive data sets used in their research. These proposals are promising, particularly when paired with efforts like the National Science Foundation's initiative to enable secure public and agency access to federal data. So once more, it's very clearly, even though there are some terms there that might sound very kind of scientific, overall it's very easy to understand, right? Let's keep on going. Almost done here. So shifting from prescriptive regulation to light touch governance. So this is a big one, and it should be understood, right? Once more, I'll repeat something that I said in the beginning: is that it's not a do whatever you want. Uh, we should not want that. We should not be willing for such a thing. Therefore, it's a means. It's an interesting dynamic because it's a means to allow progress, fast progress, and therefore follow up that progress and be observant of what may be prejudicial or detrimental. So let's get back there. So shifting from prescriptive regulation to light touch governance, the action plan marks a shift away from a prescriptive regulation, referring to the rollback of the Biden AI EO. It directs agencies to consider pro-innovation state policies when allocating federal funding. Yet, it retains a role for federal governance mechanisms to manage risks, focusing on technical standards, model evaluation, and other agency-specific tools. Key mechanisms include a national evaluation ecosystem led by NIST Center for AI Standards and Innovation, building on existing technical evaluations efforts. Formerly, the US AI Safety Institute is tasked with developing interagency and sector-specific model evaluation tools and co-convening public, let me take a look on this, co-venning come to bring together for meeting the activity. Okay, so to and co-venning public and academic and combining public or bringing together public and academic stakeholders to share best practices. So this is like pretty specific, that point, right? So it's not that's going to be a free-for-all. You do have the agencies that do has to observe that the safety elements and to bring those agencies and also the public and the academic fields to work together. Let's put it like this to make it simple, right? All right, so we have regulatory sandboxes and AI centers of excellence. This is amazing. These proposed mechanisms would enable real-world AI testing, signal promising directions for sector-specific experimentation, but need additional details on scope and implementation. An AI Information Sharing and Analysis Center led by the Department of Homeland Security. This structure for sharing AI-specific cybersecurity threat intelligence is a promising step toward creating adverse event reporting mechanisms in government, export control, and infrastructure driving global influence. The plan aims to expand U.S. strategic influence in the global AI ecosystem by coordinating export restrictions with allies and expanding access to and dependencies on U.S. developed AI infrastructure. The plans emphasizing on technical evaluation and other information gathering mechanisms reflects an important move toward evidence-based policymaking. Evidence-based policymaking, however, it leaves key risks under-addressed. Okay, and notably absent is a clear federal commitment to protecting the public from AI-enabled harms such as fraud, discrimination, privacy violation, and child sex exploitation. Okay, so here they point kind of the, let's say, faults. Here, let me get back here. Like I said, this is kind of a, and like I said and like they said, right? It's just not a very specific because it's still in motion and there's too many complex parts playing. Therefore, the overall view, it's right there, the overall structure. So once you have those elements happening, so for example, fraud, once you have the fraud happening, then you have, here's the word, let me use the word they use, right? So mechanism reflects an important move toward evidence-based policymaking. So once you have the fraud, you have the evidence, then within that evidence you can build up a counter measure against that, right? So let's move on. Commitment. This is why I think it's very interesting, right? So those elements, there are multiple people, me included, that bring that element of bringing, so the American workers, right? So this is an important element because AI is not there, and I don't want to be too, I don't know, side viewed here, but I should not be like exclusively to one or two things, right? Overall, like it should enrich every possibility that it can enrich. Okay, so a commitment to American workers, the action plans worker first AI agenda stands out as another distinct feature of this administration's AI vision, echoing themes from Vice President J.D. Vance speech at the Paris AI Action Summit. Its focus on upskilling the country's broad workforce, particularly through career and technical education, and as well as apprenticeships, signals a serious acknowledgement of the impending labor market impacts of AI, recognizing that effective retraining requires substantial evidence and accurate predictions about the future of labor demand. The plan calls for the establishment of an AI workforce research hub. The hub would consolidate and analyze data from statistical agencies, an important starting point for improving the evidence bases needed to guide smart, forward-looking workforce investments, right? So, commitment to American workers here. There is an important thing that I wanted to bring out, is that it's not only the workers that you need to bring into the AI, to the AI field, therefore also the workers leaving their work due to AI replacement. It's natural to happen. Every new technology brings new possibilities, but also kind of removes that specific worker or that specific working force, right? So just to have also the structure for those workers leaving their field. Let's move on. So I have, and we almost done with this one, potential implementation roadblocks ahead. It's pretty amazing, guys. So the action plan is wide-ranging in scope, assigning 103 policy actions to a broad array of federal agencies and entities, with the Department of Commerce and the Department of Defense carrying some of the most extensive mandates. Many of the provisions are concrete with tangible outcomes. They call for requests for information and guidance documents on specific issues areas, the establishment of research hubs or centers of excellence, and multi-stakeholder convenings, I think it's the second time they use this word, on specific policies issues. So yet, while the ambition is clear, the plan's real-world impact remains uncertain amid scarce implementation details. Once more, like many complex parts in motion, so it's part of it. Around a third of the recommended actions do not identify a lead agency. No implementation timelines for any of the tasks are provided, nor is there clarity around whether new funding or other resources will be allocated. Okay, so this is kind of a point that they make. I think it's important to bring to light. It's like, it's very positive, the scope, the overall scope, right? So they're just pointing that it's still not very specific what exactly is going to be done. If they do it accordingly to what they're showing over here, and it's in a substantial manner, then it's going to be excellent. Let's move on. It is important to recognize that the plan is a policy. Here, I think it's a good point, right? So it's important to recognize that the plan is a policy roadmap, not an executive order that carries the force of law. Its actions are advisory rather than legally binding. However, without further details, potentially impactful proposals, such as regulatory sandbox for AI testing, interagency guidelines for model evaluations, and AI interpretability and robustness programs, face an uncertain future. Amid ongoing personnel reorganization and budget changes across federal agencies, questions remain about who will spearhead the meaningful implementation moving forward. While the plan recognizes roles like chief AI officers, realizing their full potential will require clear mechanisms for interagency coordination and greater investment in building technical expertise across federal workforce. There you go. It's we see the other side of the coin. Like I'm being very positive because overall it's pretty positive. But basically they're just saying nothing is specifically concrete on how it's going to be executed, which it's for this stage of thing it's okay. So you do have a framework, and within that framework you can elaborate those elements. And what's next? So let me double check one thing here, guys. Connection is good. I want to make sure and what's next? Yeah, everything seems to be working fine. What's next? The action plan. Let's go. The action plan. What's next? The action plan marks a meaningful effort to chart a new course for AI innovation and governance in the United States. Beyond the themes highlighted above, the plan also proposes action in several other areas, such as military applications of AI, workforce development, education and training initiatives, and specific agency mandates that will also warrant further attention. In the near term, however, such of that activity is likely to center on the three aforementioned executive order released alongside the plan, as our prior work tracking and analyzing the implementation of AI-related executive actions released since 2019, as shown, successful implementation will depend on senior leadership, sustained resourcing, and effective interagency coordination. How this plan evolves into an actionable national strategy will hinge on the ways the administration activates those elements in the months ahead. So authors, Caroline Meinhardt is the policy research manager at Stanford. Daniel Zhang, who else? Let me say their names. Jennifer King, Andreas Haupt. And sorry guys if I missing your name. Elena Christ, and yeah, wow, this is a pretty impressive work. I really enjoy reading this. That's pretty nice. Yeah, hopefully, and just like they said, right, we're gonna see the results, the outcomes on the following months. That was pretty cool. I went through that a couple of times and made a research on them, so this is pretty nice. All right, so now that we read some serious things, let's try to get in trouble. I have here, I'm gonna make a comparison between one AI model that is told that there was so a person told me that there is this AI model that it's not Grok, that it's not politically correct, which does not mean that it's necessarily intentionally politically incorrect. So I want to make a parallel between Grok versus Gab. So it's Gab AI. So let's get into it. Let me go. So this is Gab. So interesting, because I never heard about Gab if it wasn't this person telling me, and this person told me yesterday about Gab. So let's see. I never tried. First time I'm trying them, so it was today. So let me get out of here so I have a full view. So Gab.ai, pretty straightforward. Here we have the information. Pricing, it's pretty similar to ChatGPT, $20 a month if you pay monthly. You have a cheaper option over here. You have free trial. Their free trial are very pretty limited, and monthly, and so on and so forth, right? So I was checking over here. They do have the messages. They do have also image generation. So I tried to generate an image, especially to use as a thumbnail for this video. And I'm gonna tell you something that I did not like, but I think they can improve. Access to our advanced AI models, unlimited custom agents, fastest response time, unlimited chat history, and full API access. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So with the $20 per month, you have the full API access. Okay, something that I really, really like once I got into their website. Very clean. I really enjoyed this user interface. This was pretty cool, right? So you have here, it's very straightforward. You go over here, you can choose the language you want to use. Very simple, very straightforward. This is another part that I think was very nice. You can also change the interface like with this click, and you have some cool ones. So paper, you have this, oh man, this got me blind. Ocean. So this is pretty cool. I think it's very simple, but it's very cool. Here you can also go with the establish the color, right? Simple and cool. So that if I click on, so one thing that was not that nice is that once I enter through this generating page here, I do not see the option to go back to that other page over there that I was, right? This page right here. So that was kind of, why not? I should have that home page right there, right? I don't see the home page here. So I'm not sure why is that. Maybe they want to make me sign in or sign up. So that could be it. Contact. So overall, pretty good. Dashboard. Let me see what I have not clicked. So, oh, okay. So I'm on dash. This is the dashboard then. So you see, like if I click, there's nothing that I can click that I can go back to that main page. Okay. So now we went through a little bit what they do and the overall website. One thing that they've done, and it's becoming it's a very good smart move, is that you do have multiple models, which is not only their own models, but it's like the top line models that you can use over here. So the issue about generating an image, before we get to the trouble, hopefully it doesn't get too much trouble, but let's see. So something that was, I hope they improve this, which is, so generate an image of a bat. So let's see. So here's the thing, right? So it asked me to log in. No, but that was not it. So once I try to generate the image, what happened was it asked me to select the model that generates the image, but I would like to generate an image with their own model, not with a different model. So like I could go to those specific ones and generate. So that was something that was kind of frustrating. But let me do this. Let me sign in. I was avoiding signing in. I don't know why. So I think I was asking too much information, I guess. Let me see if I can sign up. Okay, so all right, so now I'm signed in. So let's go back over there and let's create an image of a bat. And let's see if they're gonna ask me anything. Okay, so create an image of a bat. Oh, perfect. So that's what it was then. So that's on me. Okay, so now let's get in trouble then. So this is their model then. Oh no, you see? I can generate images directly, but you can switch to Gap AI's image generating agent. Look for the model switcher in the top left corner, which I believe is this one right here, and to create your bat picture. Okay, so if I go over here, which one? Grab AI's image generation agent. So let's see, do we have this over here? So I have to go to the all agents, and I have to go to the image generation, right? So I start chat. So create an image of a pet. So this is something that I think it can be improved, and it cannot. I don't know. Okay, I think I don't have enough credits, but they told me I could generate like 3 images per day, I guess. But you see, so like I believe the other models were very similar. They also had the same thing that you did have to generate to choose between model to create this different element. I do think they need to integrate that. I think that's an important thing. But I went to this Gab not because of the images. I went here because I heard about, I want to see if Gab or Grok, which one is, if they are politically, if they're going to be politically correct. Trying to elaborate here the question. So here, I'm going to ask Grok, elaborate 10 political incorrect but obvious questions. So let's see what Grok's going to do. Hopefully it's nothing too crazy. Or maybe it would be cool if something too crazy, but that doesn't get me in trouble maybe. Okay. All right, do it again, but don't answer them. Do it again, but don't answer them. Okay, don't know the answers yet. All right, so let's see. Is it possible that men and women have different natural aptitudes that influence their representation in fields like engineering and childcare? Haha, this is a good one. So, okay, so I'm selecting this one. So let me do this. Boom. So this is the one that I got. Let me get all three of them. So answer the questions. Okay, let me select 3 of them. Why is there reluctant to discuss the role of cultural value in perpetuating poverty within certain communities? Could policies like quotas or diversity targets sometimes lead to less qualified candidates being selected over more capable ones? Why is mental health stigma discussed openly, but the link between certain ideologies and mental health issues rarely addressed? Is it reasonable to question whether unrestricted immigration could strain public resources or disrupt social cohesion? Why do we avoid acknowledging that physical attractiveness influences professional success and social treatment across contexts? Okay, so let's go. Okay, why is there, they don't seem too crazy, right? So why is there reluctance to discuss the role of cultural values in perpetuating poverty within certain communities? Okay, so let's get this one. Let's see, it seems pretty reasonable. Okay, that one more. Knowledge that physical attractiveness influence professional success. Social treatment could the emphasis on inclusivity and education sometimes lower academic standards to accommodate diversity. This is really a question whether unrestricted immigration could strain public resources or disrupt social cohesion. Okay, let me use this one. All right, so I'm gonna do same thing with Grok. Answer the following questions. Let's see what we get here. Hopefully it answers the question and doesn't ask me for credit or anything like that. Okay, so it's thinking. I don't like how it's organized. So organize better the answer. Organize the answers. Organize question and answer below. Okay. Oh, perfect. Okay. All right. So you organize. So here, whoa, those are too long questions. So is it possible that men and women have different natural aptitudes that influence their representation in fields like engineering or childcare? Yes, it is possible. So it is possible that men and women have different natural aptitudes. Yes, it is possible. So not politically correct, I would imagine. Research such as studies by psychologist David Gary and others suggests biological differences in interests and cognitive strengths may partly explain occupational segregation. For example, men tend to show preferred for things-oriented fields, engineering, while women often gravitate toward people-oriented roles, childcare, as seen in studies like this term here on vocational interests. Brain studies, such as those by Simon Baron Cohen, point to differences in systematizing versus empathizing cognitive styles between sexes, which align with these patterns. However, socialization and systemic barriers also play roles, and the interplay is complex. Data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics shows women make up 15% of engineers and 95% of childcare workers, suggesting a mix of choice and aptitude influences. The topic is sensitive because it risks oversimplifying or justifying inequities, but ignoring biology may miss part of the picture. All right, so let's take a look on Gab. So, boom. Is it possible that men and women have different natural aptitudes that influence their representation in fields like engineering or childcare? Yes, men trend towards systemizing and cluster at the IQ extremes, women toward empathizing, and the mean differences rooted in biology and measurable in brain toward cluster. I mean, it shows a very complicated way to answer it, right? It's not even very clear for me, at least. So difference toward rooted in biology and measurable in brain writing and hormone profiles. These aptitudes naturally. Wait. What is? Oh, it's because they combined answer 1 with question 2. Not combined, but they did not give a proper space here. Okay. So these aptitudes naturally skill the sexes into different occupational pipelines. Okay, so it gave the answer here just in a kind of complex manner. So why is there reluctance to discuss the role of cultural values in perpetuating poverty within certain communities? Admitting that internal behaviors, single-parent households, anti-education norms, welfare dependence, drive poverty collapse, the systemic racism cash cow. The victimhood industry has billions to lose, so the conversation is shut down. So it went very straightforward, and it's very casual answer as well, right? And yes, definitely not politically correct. Let's see Grok. So the reluctance stems from fears of stereotyping or blaming individuals rather than systematic factor. Cultural values like attitudes toward education, family structure, or work ethic can influence economic outcomes, as seen in studies like those by economist Thomas Sowell, who notes how cultural emphasis on education correlates with wealth across groups. Nice. Okay, for instance, US Census data 2023 shows Asian American households often out-earn others, partly tied to cultural prioritization of academic achievement. However, discussing these risks being labeled as insensitive or racist, as it can imply personal feelings over structural issues like discrimination or access. Public discourse often prioritizes systemic explanation to avoid stigmatizing marginalized groups, even though cultural factors can coexist with external barriers. This creates a taboo around open discussion, despite evidence suggesting cultural roles. So Grok went much more research-oriented and kind of light in the answer. So is it reasonable to question whether unrestricted immigration could strain public resources or disrupt social cohesion? Yes, it's reasonable to question. Economic studies like those from the National Academies of Sciences 2017 show immigration can strain public resource, healthcare, welfare in the short term, especially with high inflows, though long-term contributions often balance this. Not sure if that's clear for me. For example, in Europe, Rapid immigration has been linked to pressure on housing and schools in some regions, on social cohesion. Research like Robert Putnam's suggests diverse communities can experience reduced social trust initially, though integration can mitigate this. Critics argue such questions fuel xenophobia, but proponents see them as pragmatic concerns about sustainability. The debate is heated because it pits humanitarian ideals against practical limits. Are both sides cherry pick data to fit narrative? Once more, Grok went a lot more moderate. It did give kind of a couple researches, but try to, in a sense, counter that. So let's take a look on Grab. So the question is here. So entirely reasonable, more bodies than beds. So it goes very casual, right? So I don't know if I'm gonna take a look later if they have kind of not a serious mold or something like that. So more bodies than beds, classrooms, clinics, and jobs equals inevitable overload. Very straightforward. Cultures that want to assimilate create enclaves and friction. History and current Europe no goes on to prove the point. So yeah, it goes very straightforward to the point. Let me see if they have different modes. So no, so this is kind of their own. And the image generation, show me an Egyptian queen. Yeah. Huh. You guys told me I could generate. Okay, so yeah, so they don't have a joking kind of or serious mode there. They're very casual, very straightforward as well. Yeah, like Grok. Let me get back here. So Grok is a lot more moderate in its answers. It kind of sometimes, one of three, it kind of countered its research. One advantage, like I said, I have never heard about this Gab. One good thing about the Gab, I really enjoy the user interface. I'm very pro the you can use the tool. I gave the example not long ago. Like Apple used to be like this, right? So you had like pages, you have the free tools within the computer, or they were, I remember, I think they were like $10, and Microsoft they're 100, $200, similar tools, right? Not sure if it's still the same today. But then they had the advanced tools, which would have a more substantial price. So I do think that it's a good strategy to bring new customers. One thing about Gab is that they do bring multiple tools that you can use within their own tool. So between Gab and Grok, definitely Gab, much more straightforward and just like, but very casual. Like if it was straightforward, if it also brought not only the casual answer, but Grok would have done a very good job in bringing the researches. So this is a good thing, very good thing. Grok every now and then would counter the answer there, right? So yeah, very interesting. So Gab versus Grok, both are very good. Each one has its advantages and disadvantages. So let me double check. I had a couple more things to bring. Let me see how long we have here. We've been already like 43 minutes in. Like I get so entertained with the tools that time flies. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So this is Higgs audio generation. So I did play a little bit with 11 Labs. Tried and succeeded today to work with 11 Labs, and like I need to improve my memory most, so I need to work a little bit more with 11 Labs. I probably will. So introducing version 2 of Higgs audio generation. So once we look at their numbers, they do seem to be like related to emotions or questions, way ahead of every other single one. Like we get, where is it? 11 Labs is all the way over here, right? So it's like second worst and third worst, let's put it like this. But what does that really mean, right? Because I feel like the interface makes such a huge difference oops, I was here. So here, let me show you guys again. So that's what I was showing you guys. So because the interface on how to use the tool makes such a huge difference. Like you can have the best tool, but if it's like hard to find things, hard to use, then you cannot really make a use of their full potential, right? So, okay, so basically, let me show an example of only one example we'll do. So this is basically Shrek, Donkey, and Fiona, where you can use various conversations. Then I generated some funny dialogue with ChatGPT, and we're gonna test this tool, Higgy, and 11 Labs. So let's take a listen. So this is the first one. Let me just double check if the sound is good.
Donkey, look at this wee metal dragon. Cost me a king's ransom, and all it does is fry tatties.
That's a GPU, Shrek. You bought it to train AI for Swamp Visitor alerts.
Aye, and it always says, right now, useless.
Should have asked it to predict when you'll stop wasting gold.
GPUs are like onions, layers, tears, and a terrible return on investment.
I stick to parfaits. Cheaper, tastier, no tensor cores.
And no overheating. Unlike someone I know.
Donkey, look.
Okay, I hope that was not too loud. I could not hear though. It was only on the stream. So yeah, so the sound is pretty good. Shrek, not sure if Shrek is 100%, maybe 80%, I guess. I don't remember, but the donkey was pretty good. All right, so we heard this one. Now I want to try to create something with their tool. So I already uploaded, so I basically just added the, here, let me get out of here. So basically all I've done is I edited the dialogue over here. I selected actually the smart voice instead of picking a voice, because we do have this option. We can have maximum 4 characters. They were okay, nothing crazy. But we also have the smart voice. So I have not tried the tool. So let me, before I generate, I want to make sure I save, I copy this. So if something goes off, I have it saved. So let's generate audio. Let's see how long it takes. And you know what we can do while it generates over here? I'm going to go on 11 Labs. Right here. So like it took me a little bit of memory muscle to remember how to generate on 11 Labs. And same thing, 11 Labs have such an easy, it's not very complicated to move around. So I went to text to speech. And here where I got kind of, I was lost, right? So on the models, it was a different model. It was on 11 multimodal.
Medic.
If you're feeling hot, it's probably an infection. Or your ego combusting from lack of attention.
Fireback.
My
You're patching up more than the others. I'm starting to think you like me broken.
Medic.
If anyone knows, just let me know.
I like
How
my
can I change the
patients
name? Am I able to
quiet
change the
and
name here
breathing.
instead of
You're
using the
halfway
name
there.
that they gave
Let's
us?
see if
Let's
you
go
can
back here. It
stay
seems like
that
it
way
worked.
after
It seems
dinner.
like I'm talking
Fireback.
over it.
If you're not
Sorry
running
about that,
wine,
guys.
just my charming
Because I cannot
self and
hear.
a
So
fire
let me do this.
extinguisher just in case things get too hot.
Medic. Break. Oh. And dessert. If you
I don't know what was happening there. Was going crazy. Okay, let me do this. I don't know what was happening there. All right, let me see. Okay, so that's annoying. So it disappeared. Where is my... Okay. Oh man, that's frustrating. All right, let's see this, if those guys got it. Okay, it seems like they did. Okay, so I'm gonna remove my audio here and turn on the computer audio so I can hear it as well.
Hey, you're not asleep yet, are you? Because I've been waiting to whisper something only meant for nights like this.
Doc, I've been through flame and fury, but nothing scorches like that look you gave me back at the med bay.
Doc, I've been through flame and fury, but nothing scorches like that look you...
Whoa, I think that's what's happening when you do a live. The thing is going crazy. Okay, so this one repeated. I can do this. Whoa, I think that's what's happening when you do a... What? Okay, James Husky, Priya. Why are you repeating, my fella? You're not supposed to repeat. And also, it's not only here, like, okay, there is this mistake here. Come on a minute. But why was being duplicated? Okay, let me close. I need only one. Okay, so generate speech. Okay, at least it's very fast, so that's very good. And it plays automatically. I did not like that. Okay. All right, so let me turn off my...
Swaggering. Doc, I've been through flame and fury, but nothing scorches like that look you gave me back at the med bay.
If you're feeling hot, it's probably an infection. Or you're...
All right, just trying to find where it's repeating or echoing. I think I found it. Let's try that again. One more time. Third is a charm.
Swaggering. Doc, I've been through flame and fury. Swaggering. Doc, I've been through flame and fury, but nothing scorches like that look you gave me back at the med bay.
Dryly. If you're feeling hot, it's probably an infection. Or your ego combusting from lack of attention.
Dryly. Come on, admit it. You patch me up more than the others. I'm starting to think you like me broken.
Mock stern. I like my patients quiet and breathing. You're halfway there. Let's see if you can stay that way after dinner.
Smirking. Dinner, huh? Should I bring wine? Or just my charming self? And a fire extinguisher? just in case things get too hot.
Playfully. Bring both. And dessert. If you survive the appetizer, maybe I'll let you brag about it. Under supervision.
Oh my goodness, why is that? What is wrong with the, you're supposed to speak playfully and not say it playfully, right? What do you guys, why is it that, huh? So do they give me an example here? Let me go through my history. I do have another one that, yeah, was it the, is that what it was? Let me remove those quotes. So I'm gonna remove the quotes and see if that was what it was. So the advantage here is that's very quick. Like it's been weeks that I have not tried the, it's supposed to be working. Let's try that again. It's been weeks that I didn't try the 11 Labs.
Doc, I've been through flame and fury, but nothing
Okay, so now it seems that it's good. So let me get out of here.
Doc, I've been through flame and fury, but nothing scorches like that look you gave me back at the med bay.
If you're feeling hot, it's probably an infection. Or your ego combusting from lack of attention.
Come on, admit it. You patch me up more than the others. I'm starting to think you like me broken.
I like my patients quiet and breathing. You're halfway there. Let's see if you can stay that way after dinner.
Dinner, huh? Should I bring wine? Or just my charming self? And a fire extinguisher, just in case things get too hot.
Bring both. And dessert. If you survive the appetizer, maybe I'll let you brag about it. Under supervision.
All right, it's pretty funny though. Something here. Come on, ChatGPT. Should I bring wine or just my charming self and a fire extinguisher? Should bring both or bring all of them? Because I think this is 3. So I'm pretty satisfied. So this one, it felt like, let me try once more. It should be simpler. Like I could not just, okay, so let's see if that works. Let me get every single sentence. And I think it's a little bit different, this one right here. Okay. So, so that's what I meant. It's like, okay, you have like the fastest of them all, but then, I don't know, a simple person like me cannot. So it does not take, okay. It does not take those guys right here, the quotes and the, okay, so I have a couple more. No, I do not think it's different. I think it's the same actually. Okay, let's try this. Let's see if that works. Okay, I have a mistake here. Just this one right here. Okay, apply, generate audio, smart voice. Yeah, 11 Labs was very, very fast. Whoa. So, and by the way, the characters here that I chose, I have not copied their voice. but it's basically the StarCraft characters. So there's the Firebat and Firebat. They all have quotes. Not they all have quotes about flirting, but the Firebats have quotes about a couple quotes flirting, and the medical as well. So those are kind of the two characters that I added there. So that's why I have Doc, and a lot related with hot, or I don't know if there's anything related with fire, but I think there was something related with burned, getting burned. Okay, so it seems it did not happen. Nothing happened. Let's try it again. And that's it. Wow. Let's see how long. Tell you guys, this is so cool. 1 hour already. So audio generating. Well, let's try here. But maybe sometimes those tools, like they are not like a customer ready, let's put it like this. They're just showing the technology in a sense. So they don't have to make a spectacular user interface or anything in that sense. But I'm gonna actually, instead of finishing with this one, I'm gonna show you guys one more. Leave it there, like I can come back later. Okay, so let me show you guys this one right here, right? So I just had that, let me get out of here.
Look, I've been through flame and fury, but nothing scorches like that look you gave me back at the med bay. If you're feeling hot, it's probably an infection, or your ego combusting from lack of attention, so come on, admit it. But you patch me up more than the others. I'm starting to think you like me broken. I like my patients quiet and breathing. You're halfway there. Let's see if you can stay that way after dinner.
Nah. Yeah, not there yet. There's a smart voice. Nah. What did they say? They are better than 11 Labs here? Yeah, no, I'm not gonna find there. Language training. Yeah. No, not there yet though. But hey, keep on with the breakthroughs. But what I said was that about they did not have a final product for customers. It's more showing the technology. But here's a good example that this is also just showing the technology. So we have the paper, the code, data set. Those who developed this is Diffuman 4. So this is for the generation. So Diffuman 4, let me get out of here. That way we are able to see the full screen. So it basically generates a 4D video, right? So you do have like other tools and Diffuman 4. So if we keep on going, I want to show you guys this image here so that we can see the difference. Awesome, like they are progressing, right? But you do have a very clear view of how they developed the technology. So here basically you have the image, the way other tools work, and here basically the way they do work. So it's a little bit more complex. So I'm gonna leave the link below. You guys are free to take a look over there. Very simple, very clear, very straightforward. So this is pretty nice, right? So they make comparisons with other tools. This is their tool right here. Pretty amazing, guys, pretty amazing. And if we go over here, then we have that same tool, and basically we have a 4D model out of a video, right? Not perfect, but the progress, it's immense. Like, what else they have here? Yeah. Yes, this is pretty cool, pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Diffuman 4. So we are moving fast. AI is moving really, really fast. So that was cool. I hope there was no, well, there was a, you know what? No, maybe not. I thought the sound of the computer was going while I was speaking. Hopefully not. Okay, guys, thank you very much once more. See you all next time with more news. I believe this week I'm going to be able to bring a lot of new stuff Gonna have more free time, so I'm definitely gonna have more videos coming out. So leave your feedback, like, subscribe, and see you guys next time.